Hello and welcome back to Raise a Trident. My name is Jake, and today I have an interview for you. We're talking with Avery Chenier of Gate 14 Podcast, which is one of the quickest rising fan-led podcasts in the baseball space. They cover the Toronto Blue Jays. I wanted to talk to Avery because Gate 14 has been on an insane run this year. They have thrown out the first pitch at the Rogers Center. They've interviewed players and the front office of the Blue Jays, and they've been really tightly ingrained with the Blue Jays organization, and I think their rise has been very incredible and something I wanted to learn more about because we don't see this a lot with fan-led podcasts. So I wanted to talk to Avery a little bit about that, how they have gotten to where they're at now. I thought it was a great conversation. I'm really excited for you to hear it. Before we get into it, of course, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot. You can like the video as well, and you can also go subscribe to Gate 14 if you want to. I would appreciate that as well. All their links are going to be in the description down below. But let's get right into the interview. I'm here with Avery Chenier, half of the Gate 14 podcast, one of the quickest rising podcasts in all of baseball. Start out with Avery. How are you doing today?
Awesome. It's good Monday. No transactions on my end, so pretty boring, but for end of year Monday, pretty good, man.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure that the transactions are going to be coming. The Blue Jays are pretty willing to spend money, which usually isn't something I can say for the Mariners. But hey, we've spent some money, so I'm happy so far. But I'm sure there's a bunch coming your way. I wanted to have Avery on because at the end of the day, like I've kind of been known a little bit as like kind of like the community guy when it comes to the content creators in the Mariners space, and that also means that I really look at even podcasts from other fandoms that like do really well and really take interest in how well they do. And Gate 14 has been you guys have been on a roll this year is the biggest way I can put it. I guess momentum has just been insane. And so I want to talk with you about that. But first we have to start at the beginning here, Avery. Newman University, I need to know a scouting report for college lefty pitcher Avery Chenier. What is that looking like? What's the pitch mix looking like?
Oh, so lefty slop reliever, like 84, 85, overhand curveball slider, and like the worst changeup you could ever throw. But man, really bad freshman year. Started to figure out a little bit of sophomore. I never figured out the whole class aspect of it. So that's what ended my college career short, was not going to class. But okay, that's kind of the fun thing we have of John and I with Gate 14 being from Toronto. We're not professional players, but we're from Toronto. We're baseball first guys who played bad college baseball in America. So that gave us like a little bit for people around here, but no, I was bad. I had Mike Pelfrey as my pitching coach, former big leaguer, but we couldn't get anything unlocked. I was not destined to be playing baseball anymore. But I played with Josh Naylor before. Like that's who I played with.
Wow.
Growing up, played with his brother as well. I coached their youngest brother, who was a first round pick as well. But that's about the claim to fame I have. Just played with the Naylors growing up. Played a little bit of college, but nope. Content was what I had to do to break in.
Right. Well, I think first that's interesting because you mentioned overhand curveball. So is there like a bit of like savage kind of overhand type stuff, or you're not talking about arm slot like way overhand? You just mean like you weren't necessarily like a sidewinder or anything. You're just
it was 12-6 ish over the top, and then it's like, you know what? Maybe I'll drop down for a slider, and I could never. I wasn't that good. But I knew I was never that good. I was never the best on any team I played for growing up. Knew my role, could watch good players play from like the bench. They'd put me in. I was like, oh, you pitch pretty good. But it's like, yeah, I'm not. We had a bunch of major league guys on the teams I would play on. And I would just, you could be the fourth starter and I'll throw every weekend as many pitches as you like. And that's how we ended up there.
So, at the end of the day, you played college baseball, which is more than a lot of people can say, like more than I can say. So, I mean, you got that. And then playing with Josh Naylor is super cool just with the connection here. We just re-signed him and all that, and he's been such a big aspect of the Mariners the last, I guess, what, 6 months at this point. But it also makes a lot of sense. We all know, like, when he was in Toronto for the CS, they had a bunch of family there. I'm sure that was kind of weird for you to like watch in person Josh Naylor play against the Blue Jays in a playoff spot. What was that like?
It's like anytime he does something good, it's like, of course he's going to do something huge in this spot. And there's a bunch of guys I had played with and like obviously know his family, not that great, know his family, but I know it was a bunch of the guys I grew up with playing. They were all cheering for him. I could never say a bad thing about Josh Naylor. So
There we go.
anytime it happened, I was like, of course Nails is going to do this to us in the biggest spot in Blue Jays games we've seen since he was probably like an adjacent Blue Jays fan in 2015.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was every time he comes to Toronto, he has that many people show up. And
Yeah.
when we got to throw the first pitch this year, it was against Arizona, and he came out and he saw us and he said hi. But no, I could never say anything bad about Josh. He's the best.
Yeah, it seems like that's a trend too. Like no one can really say anything bad about him, which is exactly like what I want from a guy who we just signed long term. So yeah, really stoked with that. But to get back into Gate 14 stuff, it's ended up starting at least on YouTube. The oldest episode just 3 years ago. But how, like in your own words, how did Gate 14 begin?
Johnny was doing a podcast where he would have major leaguers and minor leaguers on, and he was doing that separately. And I was doing a bunch of fantasy baseball stuff. Johnny and I had played against each other growing up. So somehow, like, we're not, it's like travel ball around here. There's not that many people. Like, I knew who he was. He kind of knew who I was. And some reason we didn't meet each other. And he lived the town over. He DMs me one day. He's like, let's just do a Blue Jays podcast. And at that point, I had nothing to lose. It's like, okay, it's good with me. I can make it happen. He knew a bunch of the guys on the team through his stuff because he went to school in Nebraska, ended up being buddies with all of Bryson Stott's high school friends. So that's how he got in. And he networks like no one I've ever seen. He gets one guy on. He's like, I need you to give me this person's number so I can ask him to come on. But I was like, I can make it happen. I can do all the production side. We had played enough baseball. We knew we were watching baseball all the time. And no one in Toronto. So Rogers owns the Blue Jays. Rogers owns Sportsnet, which is like Fox Sports, ESPN-ish. We have TSN and Sportsnet. So Sportsnet gets all the Blue Jays games. They have all the Blue Jays content, right? And there had been a couple podcasts before, but it wasn't anything crazy. So John's like, there's not that many young people talking about the Blue Jays in Toronto. It's like, why don't we try and do that? I guess we were 24 at the time, maybe 23 when we started doing it. And so I was like, okay, let's make it happen. We get on. The first episode we do together is the first time we'd ever talked. Like, we had never talked in person. We aren't a group that's going to do a test run. It's like, why would we waste our time doing that? Let's see if we have something here quick. And did it. Episode 1, we pressed record. That was the first time we ever talked, had a conversation, and it's just grown since that. We got pretty good traction pretty quick. So it wasn't, I know that's the tough thing starting out is if you're going to do the grind for no one, it's kind of hard to keep doing the grind. And we got like some pretty good traction pretty quickly. So that was easy for us to do.
Do you think a lot of that traction came from like the personality of the podcast? Do you think it came from having guests on, or kind of like that, like what do you think drew people to you so quickly?
It was pretty outrageous, some of the stuff we were saying compared to what they would usually get. It's nothing bad, obviously.
Yeah.
But just the way we go about it. Johnny is like a one-of-one character. There's not anyone else like him. So you hear the things he says and the way it comes across. It's like, okay, it is a lot different than anything else they were getting in Blue Jays media at that time. And I was not one to consume a lot. I try not to listen to a lot of the other stuff so it doesn't like skew my brain, but there wasn't a lot. And we were good on socials too. Like the clips we would put out. Johnny is a shock factor guy. And when you hear him yell into a camera for the first time, you're either going to love it or you're really, really going to hate it. And that's what got
Yeah.
people noticing pretty quick.
Yeah, Johnny is a very interesting character. He scares the crap out of me, not gonna lie. Just as like, because I'm just very much not like that personality. Like, I get it and I understand, like, some people can do that, and I don't necessarily have a problem with Johnny too much necessarily, in the sense of like, I kind of get that that's just who he is, and he's very charismatic. Like,
Yeah.
I understand why people get attracted to it, but it's also like when he's talking crap about your team or your fandom, I'm just kind of like, all right, this is I don't really care for this too much anymore. But like, how is your relationship with Johnny kind of grown over the few years, and then what's the best way to describe his personality? I guess is just shock factor kind of stuff,
It's
or
it's no, unfortunately, it's authentic. Like in
uh
everything he does, it's the exact same thing. Like
huh,
I would call him out kind of. He's putting on an act. He's just
yeah,
not. I'm in, so every group chat I'm in pretty much now features Johnny, and there's no one on earth who likes like a little fight more than Johnny. He wants
hmm,
someone to argue with him. And you see that on Twitter too. I'm like, what? We don't have to do
yeah,
this all the time, right? It's like I think sometimes it negatively affects him, but that's how he like got the biggest following right away, because he would punch up pretty much if there was like some Toronto reporters that were saying they would be saying nonsense pretty much all the time.
hmm,
And it's like the old ways of thinking about baseball. Johnny would just go after them. And now it's more Twitter trolls that get to him with the 12 followers. It's like we don't need to be um chirping those guys, but it's as authentic as it gets. There he is always trying to get in a little text fight, which is very, very funny when you're never a part of it. It's like we don't fight ever, but kind of evolved. We've got this good group of friends in the city, so like we're hanging out all the time. I see Johnny way more than I see my family at this point, but
hmm,
no, just good to know that like we're business partners now. So it's like we're not gonna get mad at each other. We don't really fight ever. I don't think we fought ever. There's no need to do that. But
yeah.
yeah, John, when you're doing that, you want to be friendly with the person. Like there's no reason for us to ever try and say bad things about each other.
Hmm.
No there's nothing I would say bad about John other than we gotta stop getting the fights with the Twitter trolls. That's it. That's all I would tell him.
Yeah, I can find personalities like that a little bit more. I guess the better word is intimidating. Like in that
We're the
sense, when you're
exact
not like
We're the
that.
opposite people, yeah, and
Yeah,
I think that's why it works. Like, we couldn't both be fiery or else I think then we would have
you would
problems, but
argue. Yeah.
yeah, I'm the exact opposite. I think it's hilarious when he gets going because I don't have that in my system, so as long as one person has it, I think it's good for us, it's good for the brand.
Gate 14's now gotten to 13.5K subs as of right now. Very dedicated following, as I mentioned earlier, and the support of the organization that you cover. What do you think has gotten Gate 14 to where it has now? Like, not even from just the beginning, but to the point where you're throwing out the first pitch, you're getting your own section in to Rogers Center for a game, all that just insane stuff that doesn't really happen to any other podcasters that aren't like basically professionals, like, professional media people.
Man, it's trying to be real about it too, because dealing with the ownership in the front office, it was very popular to bash them as of the last couple years, and
Mhm.
I think we both made it a pretty big part of it is like we don't need to add on like that. We're winning baseball games. We are going to the playoffs. I don't think it's as bad as everyone wants to say, and we try not to do it because we're not hockey guys, but like Toronto Leafs media, the Maple Leafs media loves to just bash on everything that's happened. And that's kind of the way media deals with things everywhere, but especially Toronto. It's like shock factor. How are we going to get the clicks? Let's make fun of the front office. And we're just like, I wanted to use a clear view of it all the time because I didn't feel like they were ruining the team. I was like, they are spending money. They have a good track record in the regular season, but weren't winning in the postseason. And then you only got into multiple wild card series during this time, and they fell flat in both times. The Mariners, the Twins, the Rays. I mean, 2020 doesn't really count. They had fallen flat in 2-game series, and everyone's like, you can't win with these guys. And I think the first thing is us not crazy bashing them was the organization saying, okay, these guys are, if we bashed them, we wouldn't have as good of a relationship as we do, right? And it's not, you don't want to pander totally, but we cover the Toronto Blue Jays. If the Toronto Blue Jays don't want to work with us and do stuff, first of all, and if they say no to people coming on the podcast, how is that good for us in our business that we want to grow? It's like, we don't want to bite the hand that feeds us. So I tried to think of clear minds. Like, these guys aren't the biggest problem in the world that everyone's trying to make them out to be, to get all the clicks, fire these guys. That was never what we did. And we spent the money. So I know you guys deal with the ownership group. They're trying to spend money. We don't really have that problem. And everyone would bash them because they couldn't get the biggest free agents of all time. They came second for that. It's like, how? I know we're not getting these guys, but how is this a problem? Clearly, they've done something good enough to interest Ohtani, you interest Soto, and they go to places that pay him a ton. LA is not Toronto. I understand Shohei going to LA. It was crazy that he made it that long in that process. I do think just being authentic with them, not trying to gotcha any of the players when we get them on the podcast for clips and stuff like that, more show the personalities, be like, this is an adjacent media thing. This is not Sportsnet who owns the team, but we can do good things for the players as well, that they can't ask the questions that we ask the players on the podcast. So I think it does help the players as well. And we were lucky enough for them to see that and allow us to do what we do. So I do think we were just really lucky. And it started with not wanting everyone in the front office fired like most other Toronto media people did at that time.
I guess kind of the flip side of that, though, is like, and I totally understand like not wanting to necessarily badmouth like people in the organization, but where is kind of like the fine line between, I guess, criticizing, let's say, a player, or, you know, if maybe you did have a legitimate reason to criticize someone in the front office for something, how do you walk that fine line between criticizing, but then still being like, I guess, not overly harsh to the point where like, oh, this person's never going to want to come on my podcast again, right? Because like a lot of people, especially in sports, will resort to being like, oh, this dude is just a bum, like, why, like, you know, saying pretty harsh things about players if they, especially they won't perform well. At the end of the day, like, everyone's going to have bad outings or bad performances or whatever. Like, how do you figure out, and I guess both of you technically too, like that fine line between being able to healthy criticize the people if you need to, but still, you know, not be like falling out of their good graces, I guess.
You got to just do numbers. Like, you can't personally attack these people anymore. And that's kind of that's how we started, is like, oh, this guy is a bum. Like, you need to DFA him. And then we've had enough run-ins where you have to talk to the people in person and they have a problem with what you say. And it's like, okay, that's fair. I don't think we should attack you as a person, anything. You shouldn't lose your job. I shouldn't call for you to lose your job, but this is what you've done over X amount of games, X amount of days. Not good enough. That's fine. Like, hopefully we can try and find something to turn it around, but not calling for people to be off the team is usually a good first start. But when you do start out and you don't deal with those interactions, it's easy to say, as someone you don't deal with, hey, like, let's DFA this guy. Like, he is absolutely useless. But you just can't say that anymore. You don't want to do that, because you will run into the people. They will have a problem. It will get back to them. That's the funny thing, is like, real people listen to the podcast now. It's not just numbers, like how we see them, and it'll get back to, if you say something bad, it'll get back to them, and then you have to deal with what you said. So let's talk about the numbers. Let's not talk about these people personally, not try and attack them that way. But if you've been bad over a certain amount of time, that's what we can break down. That's what we can talk about. And we just got to hope and pray that it gets turned around somehow. And it's trying to find things that can change about these players too, right? You're not just trying to say all the bad things, but trying to spin zone it in a way that, hey, it's a barrel rate. These pitch mixes aren't truly working. But again, not attacking them as people is usually the best way to go about that. It's like, the thing for me is, Section 10 was always kind of the blueprint of how they did stuff. That's the Carabas Red Sox one, obviously. And I always thought they went about it pretty well, and they made a clear blueprint of how fan first and fan led podcasts can succeed. So just kind of working off them has always been our type of thing.
So it's kind of like, instead of just saying, this person needs to be DFA, get them off my team, it's saying they are not performing the way they should be right now, and there's probably not room for this type of performance on the team, like stuff like that. Like, I guess that makes sense. I feel like that is a very unique problem that obviously not a lot of podcasts have when they are super ingrained in the organization that you guys are at this point, where you do have to face these people that you talk about. And, you also can't necessarily be afraid in saying like, that wasn't good enough or something, but
enough people watch, they would call us and say, we watch the same game? And be like, yeah, we did watch the same game, and that wasn't a good performance. But I got a story from last year. I would do a 10 trades segment. It's just something I have fun, like 10 people I basically want to acquire. And last year I put together a trade that was Spencer Horwitz for Alec Boehm. And I wake up, it's like 6 a.m. for a text a number I don't have. He's like, Spencer Horwitz texted me. He said, "You wanted me traded for who?" And then within a week, he was traded to Pittsburgh. And I was like, that feels like that was my fault. Obviously wasn't, but
yeah,
it's like, yeah, if you say something, you got to know it's going to come back to you. And it's either going to be, that one wasn't actually bad. It's like some people will listen and some people will get it sent to them, and they're not going to listen to whole episodes. They might listen to a 20-second clip where you can't say something that outrageous and not expect it to come back to you and have to face the music.
I'm sure that's a very weird thing to do, as you guys are like producing a pod, having to be a lot more mindful almost with your words than a lot of other podcasts have to be. I want to go back a bit more to the Gate 14 like growing and how it's risen to where it's at now. Like, are there any specific like logistical or strategic things that you guys have done to help aid in the success from more of a behind the scenes content type scenario?
No, we're probably two of the worst people at that ever. We don't plan anything, pretty much. We never have an outline for any episode we do. Johnny is just so good at carrying the topic to topic, where he just has it and he sends it off to me, and I'm able to talk about it. So the bad stuff for us has always been like legal and business, who to deal with, and we're not great at that either. It's like, hey, there's just two of us, no one else is doing any of the stuff. Like we have a graphics guy who's great, but I'm doing the producing, cutting all the clips, Johnny's running all the socials. It's like, it's not a big team, it's just him and I. We should just tweet from our personals, because whenever Johnny tweets from the Gate 14 account, you know when Johnny tweets, and people know when I tweet, and that's always funny. But yeah, we haven't grown that well in that department, because I think for a business side of it, we should be a lot better with the merch and stuff like that. But finally, partnerships, we did it 3 years, really no partnerships at all, and it's like, hey, we're gonna fund this thing out of our own pockets until we're able to make it our full-time jobs this year. So that was a big thing for us. But I mean, we should be planning a lot more than we do. Like, we go down to Florida and we have no idea who's going to come on the podcast for spring training. It's like, it would be nice to figure that out, but you can't. The players have no idea when they're kind of going to be free based on their schedules. So it's always tough. We could become a lot more regimented, and I think that would be the next big step for us. But then at that point, is it as fun as when we were just doing it off the cuff and you never knew what you were getting into? That's the fight we kind of fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it feels like the main thing I've noticed, at least from the outside, is like the graphics for sure. I'm like, I know you guys also work with like Overdue Sports a little bit. I don't know how involved is Overdue Sports in Gate 14.
Yeah, Owner's Box. Yeah, we do.
Or Owner's Box. Why did I say Overdue though? Is that some other company? That's my bad.
Yeah, no,
Owner's
all
Box.
good. So that's who I kind of started. They're not involved, besides like paying us and sharing revenue through ad deals, like getting us deals based on, like, no one's ever told us what we should do, what we can't do. Yeah, it's just Johnny and I had been working for them for a while, and then brought it over there so we could basically just do Gate 14 full time. They're not too involved. They're not involved at all when it comes to day-to-day processes and stuff we have to put out, but mostly all the ad deal stuff. But the guy we work with there, our graphics guy, is one of one, like one of my best friends now. And yeah, he understands it, and it's hard to find some people, at least Toronto baseball, when we started off doing it, who kind of understood it. So the graphics guy, it's a huge thing for us, because when it looks good, it makes it look as like not the most professional thing in the world, but it gives you some more leeway and it gives you a good look. So you want to have good graphics. You can tell when they're bad. But it's, yeah, just trying to make do with what we have. And it's not a ton, but we got some talented people around us, that's for sure.
Are you the one who edits like the vlogs and stuff? Because I was watching some of the vlogs in preparation for this, and it's just like, I feel like everything looks really good as far as like, and I don't know if you're filming from your iPhones, but it looks like you're filming from like a legit camera. Like,
No,
I don't know who's doing the color grading, but it looks really good. So yeah, is that all you then, if you're like the main producer?
Yeah, I think one of the owner's box guy did the Seattle video, but there's no,
Okay.
it's on my iPhone and there's no color grade to it. I press
Okay.
play.
It was the Seattle one mainly that I was watching, so I
Okay,
don't know
yeah.
if maybe that's part of it, but yeah.
Yes, I know. I trashed the Seattle dog in that one. I was just like too hungover to eat, and I was like not what I was looking for at that time. I
Fair
wish I
enough.
could have that one back, but yeah, no, it's just put it together on the iPhone. Everyone complains about the audio pretty much. It's like I hate the look of the small little mics people just have them tagged on, but they do sound a lot better. But yeah, put on my iPhone, put it into Google Drive, spend 5 hours getting it from Google Drive to my computer, and then put it together and see what the people like. The vlogs they are good. People like to see people travel. It's just a thing, going to the other ballparks, and Seattle was a good one. They like when we go to spring training because it's finally the start of baseball season. But yeah, get it on my iPhone, get it to the computer, and then put it in Premiere and try and make some magic. What little skills I have in Premiere, I just self-taught into to make it happen.
To go over kind of the biggest, or at least what I thought were like the biggest Gate 14 moments this year, and hopefully we can expand on them a little bit as well. So I wanted to do like a blind ranking of the Gate 14 moments this year. So I have 5, and I want you to rate them in as far as like what the coolest was. But we're gonna do blind ranking, so maybe you'll mess up the rankings.
Perfect.
It'll be fun. We'll see. So I want to start out with throwing out the first pitch, but not the Rogers Center one, the Vancouver Canadians one. So if you can talk a little bit about that, and like where would you put that 1 out of 5?
I'll probably put that 5. I'll put that 5 because I think we got some good moments from this year, but
yeah,
it plays off of the first pitch at the Rogers Center one. And Vancouver, I've never been to the West Coast of Canada, because the West Coast I'd only been in America was California, spent a lot of time in LA and San Diego. Then we went to Seattle. That was the first time, Pacific Northwest. And then Vancouver, the Canadians, they've been A-ball for the Jays for a while. And everyone's like, Nat Bailey Stadium is so cool. It's like, yeah, I would love to go over there. And the only time it would ever make sense was MLB All-Star break. And it just so happens like the minor league breaks the same time too. It's like, I would love to go to Vancouver, spend some time during the break, but they wouldn't play as well. So that would always suck. So we had to find a reason to get over there. And the redemption first pitch for Johnny was the reason to go over there. And it was awesome. It was really good.
So I guess we might as well go right into throwing the first pitch at the Rogers Center. So I also have to be curious, like, how does that come about? And what's like the initial reaction when you guys like see the opportunity come by?
So Johnny just asked Mark Shapiro. He's like,
okay,
can we throw the first pitch? And what Mark said is like, yeah, we can make that happen. And I like to, Johnny's the make things happen guy. I would never ask something like that. And I don't have that in me. I would never ask the players to come on more than once. Johnny's really good at trying to hound them, is the wrong way, but be persistent to try and get them to come on. But he said we did a preseason like look ahead, what do we think is going to happen? And I said the funniest moment of the year, my prediction was we throw the first pitch at the Rogers Center and Johnny throws the worst first pitch of all time. This happened in like February, March, start of the season. Johnny's like, we're gonna throw the first pitch this year. It's like, I don't know about that, John. It's like, no, we're gonna throw the first pitch. He hadn't asked anyone yet, but he's like, I pretty much guarantee we're gonna throw first pitch this year. And all credit to him, he went right to the top and asked Mark Shapiro, can we throw the first pitch? And Mark Shapiro made it happen. And it was on so Work from Dome is a set of games. They were Wednesday or Thursday games at 3:00. It was a promotion, kind of get people in the building. You can do your work from the Rogers Center. And the year before, they lost every single Work from Dome game. I think it was 0-8, and we called for the lady to be fired who came up with it. And we go to spring training. Her husband's on the flight. He's like, yeah, my wife made Work from Dome. And I'm like, I'm sorry for telling her that she should lose her job. We didn't actually mean that one. And he's like, I know, it's funny. And then we end up going. So the first pitch day was like, we're gonna make you guys do a Work from Dome game for your first pitch, and that it just worked out perfectly. It was a Wednesday afternoon, I believe, 3:00 game. Wouldn't think too many people are going to be in the building for that.
And then what's the like logistics as far as figuring out who you're throwing to? Like I obviously know Ernie was who Johnny threw to. I don't remember who you threw to because all the views are of Johnny's pitch. Like your pitch is such an afterthought as far as like the camera's not even on it. Basically, it only shows Johnny. So I don't remember who you was. It to Davis Schneider?
No,
maybe
I threw to Bassett.
Did you have to hit them up separately, like privately, be like, hey, would you catch my first pitch?
We texted him before. Bassett was we have a good group chat of us three going. He's the best guy in the world. Ernie, Davis, everyone's up there, but like Bassett was so good to us. And I was like, I would love to. And it was a day he didn't pitch. Obviously that had to go into account as to who was going to be able to be out there to catch the first pitch. And I forget who else Johnny wanted. Maybe it was Hoffman, because we had played them in a golf match like a week or so before. And Johnny said, yeah, I need one of you guys to catch the first pitch. But Bassett came out there, and then Ernie was the other one, because we were in a chat with him as well. And Johnny's like, I need one of you guys out there for me. And Ernie and Bassett were those two guys. But again, his first pitch will go down in history. That is for sure.
Well, it seems like it's good that it was Ernie, just in the sense of very athletic, a guy who can really kind of pounce whichever way he needs to go. So where would you rank that as far as the blind ranking for all the moments out of 5? So you have 5 taken up.
I think I got to go 3. It was pretty cool. It was like it was like kind of a stressful day. I had way more people there that it's just like I didn't want to deal with that. It's like I just wanted to go get it over with, go watch the game, but had so many like work, family, friends show up for that. It was cool after the fact, but in the day, stressful day.
The next one we'll do is interviewing Jay's president, Mark Shapiro. That seemed like a pretty big deal for y'all. Like obviously there's other moments that I would say like from a fan perspective is really cool, but it seems like that was a big mark as far as like Gate 14 and the legitimacy of Gate 14. So talk a little bit about like how that came along and where you would place it.
Number 1, by far number 1, just as good as it gets, because there's a difference between getting clips. I think he'll be on one of the other ones you put on this list, but difference between the clips and actually getting to sit down with him for an hour, because this was at the time where people were out on them. That we had just come off a year where extreme disappointment, and again, the playoffs before, everyone's like, these aren't the guys to do it. And to have that happen, and everyone we've met has been the nicest people in the world. Just honestly, great baseball people and awesome people in general. So Mark, his son, went to Princeton, played like travel ball in the circuit around here. So him and Johnny started DMing back and forth, and Johnny asked him, he's like, would Mark come on ever? And he had done some things before a couple years ago. So it wasn't totally a one-off thing for him to do, but he's like, yeah, just email him and see. And Mark said, yeah, would love to do this. We got to interview him in his office. And he was, because we like the way we go about it. I think the best way is you want to highlight who these people are as people. And we
Mhm.
know they're good baseball players. We see what they do. And then Mark, obviously not a baseball player, but that guy knows and has forgotten more baseball than any of us could ever even imagine. And to get him to sit down and hear him talk candidly for an hour, what was great, where we weren't trying to gotcha on questions. I brought that up before. Like we weren't trying to get these clips to clickbait to rouse or stir some things up. It was like, all right, what's Mark Shapiro like? What's his career in baseball? What does he actually do for this team on a day-to-day basis? Like, let's really find out about Mark. We're not investigative journalists, obviously, but we're not trying to gotcha these guys into these quotes because we don't need to write a newspaper article on it, right? Like this is our body of work. You're going to hear it live, the questions we come up with, and it's going to be good or bad, but we're really going to hope it's going to be good. But Mark is the coolest guy ever. Honestly, I think he could talk ball for hours, and I would love to talk to him again. But that day was awesome because we were again in his office. We saw all those people who work with him who we'd kind of seen all over, but to put it all together, that day was, I will remember that one forever.
And I really liked how you mentioned, like, when you're interviewing people, you want to talk about the person or kind of bring out the person to the people. And I've had the same feeling when I do interviews with people. I want to know more about the person behind the, either the content or, the couple times I have talked to players, like, do that. Do you feel like, especially with that interview coming at a time where people were somewhat attacking him, like, do you think that interview did really help kind of his public image in a way?
I think absolutely it did, because I think the PR team played it perfectly. Because the Vladdy extension happened like 2 days later. It
Mhm.
was, oh, they can't sign these homegrown guys. And then the Shapiro thing comes out and then they sign Vladdy. But I do think it was a good thing because you don't hear from these people in that setting very often. It's the buttoned up, the recorders are in your face. You're asking questions about tougher topics than we would ask them, right? And
Yep.
like, okay, why? What bad things? Who's going to be here? What are you guys trying to do for the next season? But yeah, it was. I think the relaxed setting is good, and these guys they're great talkers. And when we talk to them and see them outside of the stadium, they're fantastic. And that's what we want to recreate as much as possible in those interviews.
So you have 1, 3, and 5 done. So now we'll go to Plakata Place next. So getting your guys' own section at Rogers Center for a game. That feels even more insane to me than a first pitch. So like, kind of,
Yeah.
how did that come about, and what was that like for y'all?
Again, this is Johnny during the Shapiro interview. He's like, I've got an idea for you. And that it'll be number 2 for me. That was really cool. Because we had done that one time before, Kikuchi Corner,
Okay.
obviously. But we had just told everyone to buy tickets in a section, and we will try and do it like that. It got on the broadcast. Everyone had the K's for the strikeouts, that the Japan flags in the section, but we had done that not with the help of the team, so kind of hard to get as many people. We had maybe 6 or 7 rows of people that we were with in that section. So it's like, I think we can recreate it. We wanted to do, it was going to be for Andres Jimenez at first.
Okay.
That was the idea. I don't know why we chose that one at first, but then the Vladdy thing happens, and the Jays are like, okay, let's do a Vlad thing for that, and came up with the name, got the shirts all together, and it was easy that we could just buy the sections out because it was another midweek game, right? Like any
Mhm.
chance they can fill a 500 level section for a midweek game, I think it can get everyone together. But that was sick. Seeing all the people there was awesome. And then Mark Shapiro walks up in Placta Place as Ernie Clement hits a 3-run homer, I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure, against the Cubs. And it was the best timing of all time. Our buddy, who had just had the most beers ever, he somehow he had the wherewithal to get his phone out and to record Mark going up the steps. And he's not a part of what we do. He's one of our buddies. He's around, but the home run happens. The clip goes crazy. Mark Shapiro's in the highest level of the Rogers Center. Like, I don't think
Yeah,
you could have they put us in the top
you're at
section.
the roof.
Yeah. Like, the roof is at our heads. Like, we can't, it's open there. And that clip goes crazy too. It was a perfect thing. Like, Mark kind of embracing the fans, and he kind of got stuck up there at the top because we were hanging out and talking, and everyone started to come up and try and take a picture. But that day was really, really cool, and hope we can definitely do more of that.
I keep seeing that clip all the time, and yeah, it's really cool, just the energy there, and knowing all that's like, I don't want to say homegrown, but like I guess that's the best way to put it. Like it's very I mean, like I said, you guys are not like professional media members of like employed by some big media conglomerate. Like you were just two fans who started this podcast because you wanted to, and you get like basically your own section. Like it's just crazy awesome stuff. So the last one, I don't know if you wanted to put this number 4, but I had to put watching a World Series game in person at Rogers Center. So watching the World Series happen, all 4 games at the Rogers Center, like what was that like for y'all?
Yeah, really, really cool. Tough how it ended. We only saw, we went to 3 of the home games, 3 of the 4 in the World Series. I'm glad I put it there because the things that were good for us professionally go 1, 2, 3. But again, the whole run, this whole playoffs, good for the podcast, good for us professionally. So World Series is really cool, man. And for someone who had never seen a World Series game before, felt like a dream. It's almost weird to not talk this off season, because some of the tweets I would put out is like, imagine we won a playoff game this year. That was something I tweeted last year, and it was kind of some far-fetched dream. It shouldn't have been as far-fetched of a dream, but I had never seen one. My team hadn't won a playoff game since 2016. Like, that was a long time. I was in college during that, like my first year of college. So it felt like a far off thing. And it was just a dream season that never stopped. It went as far as they possibly could have gone. But World Series was really cool. I hate to say it, Game 7 of the ALCS was even cooler. It was that was the best sporting event I've ever been to in my life. Like the coolest moment for me. But the World Series was really cool. Really, really cool.
So I mean, we have to talk about the postseason run. So and not to like, bring too much up with Game 7 in the ALCS, of course, for obvious reasons. I just feel like I can't imagine being a person who, like, in your situation with Gate 14, have your guys' own just like dedicated fan base, and having it kind of bleed over to like, you're basically in with the Toronto Blue Jays at this point. You are in group chats with players, which is like also like not very common for podcasters in general. But also just like to see people that you know and have hung out with, like Ernie Clement, like Bassett, like Hoffman and all that, playing in the biggest games of their life, and being able to see that in person and know them personally. And I know you guys, I don't remember if it was you or Johnny said it, like after Game 7 of the ALCS, like being invited by the families of the teams to like come celebrate with them. Like what was all that? I have to know what all that was like for y'all.
So it started with John Schneider's wife, pretty much, because we would see Jeff Hoffman's brother, and we went and had a beer with him pregame outside the family section, and they won. So it was like, okay, every time we come back, we're superstitious. We're baseball guys. We're superstitious. It's like, we're going to have a beer in this same spot every single time we go to a playoff game. And we did that. But Game 7's happening. The Jays are dead. Like they're fully dead. It's like, this offense is awful. Johnny gets a text from John Schneider's wife. It's like, we need you guys to come to the family section and try and turn this around. And that was like the 6th inning. So we go to the family section with them. Springer home run happens pretty soon after. And to see like the families go, they're the most nervous people in the world. They're as nervous as, probably more nervous than most fans. It's like, I mean, especially if you're like the Hoffman family. Bassett comes in the 8th, and we had talked to his brother and his dad a bunch over the years. And I just look back at them and they're like, oh my gosh, this is really happening right now. But like pure elation from everyone in that situation. It's probably the best sports moment in my life.
Mhm.
I'm sorry that I got to do it on this
It's
podcast,
fine.
but like it's gonna happen for Seattle fans. It will happen. Like it will happen. So yeah, that was sick. And then we were able to go out to the team party after. That was the one where I was like, we probably shouldn't be at this one, but to be with a bunch of the guys and seeing them celebrate, they're so excited. That's an absolute grind every single year. And I couldn't imagine to finally get to celebrate going to the World Series. And they were just a couple out short of having the biggest celebration of their lives. But no, it's like what it did for the city and in baseball in Canada. I love baseball in Canada, having Canadian baseball players, being proud of the Josh Naylors, the Bo Naylors, those type of guys. And like basketball boomed pretty huge after the Raptors won in 2019. And to get baseball back in this city, in this country, I was just like so proud of that. And yeah, pumped for Canadian baseball was kind of my big thing.
And also like going against, the big evil Dodgers, right? Like you're getting quite literally the maximum amount of viewership, not only for just the games, but like that does give a lot of visibility to the Toronto Blue Jays and how, I mean, like I don't want to say underrated of a year, but like, I think Johnny was saying a lot too. Like y'all were predicted to be last in the AL East, right? Like
Yeah.
no one thought there was even a chance, and then you win the division by a tiebreaker, more or less.
Yeah.
And you're the number, like who would have thought that they would be the number one seed? Like, and it's just, and to have it go basically, other than the DS, I guess, as many possible playoff games that they could have played. And yeah, it was just an incredible series. Of course, I hated watching it for, my own reasons, but
Yeah.
at the same time, like at the end of the day, like I'm a baseball fan, like what a series that was. And I was really hoping Ernie was going to get it done for y'all with that fly ball to Kike and Pajes, but I thought that's the first thing I thought of is when he hit it. I was just like, you guys know him so well. It's going to be such an insane moment if that is the guy who like walks this off for y'all. But
he sent us a text after, and he was just like, "I'm sorry, we couldn't get it done." It was like the next day. It's like
you hit it to the wall.
It wasn't even that. It was more like, sorry for not winning the World Series. Like, never ever send that message to us again. Like, that should not be a thought in your mind to apologize to us or to anyone. It just he is truly a one of one human being in the best way. And man, I really wish that hit the wall or something. That place
I
sucks.
thought it would.
That place sucks because if Kike doesn't take like a bad route to it, it's he's standing at the wall to catch this thing, but they're playing in, and I mean, it's just an absolute circus act in left center for that out of the mound.
It felt very reminiscent of, like, to tie it into a Mariners moment, the Victor Robles catch against the Houston Astros in September, where he kind of like from off screen just comes in and dives and get it. Like that whole up until like the ball's caught, you don't even see Pajes on the screen on the TV. Like it's just Kike the whole time, and you're like, there's no way this dude has that ball. But yeah, I can't. I think for a lot of us Mariner fans were like, well, they had their George Springer moment back, I guess, a little bit. But I guess I do have to ask about kind of, at the end of the day, like, this is a Mariners channel and we talk about the Mariners here. But you took a trip to Seattle this year. So kind of just what are your thoughts about the city of Seattle, your honest opinion about like the Mariners and their fandom and kind of just, yeah, where are you at with that? Because I think a lot of people don't exactly like Johnny for some of his Mariners takes. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Mariners fans are online a lot, like because of where they are with Vancouver and all of that. There's so much Mariners Blue Jays crossover where it's like Blue Jays Yankees. You're going to see the worst people online and tweeting at each other. If that's the only way you think about, that's the only way I think about the Yankees fan base, unfortunately. But like, of course, you're going to get the worst of the worst from people going at each other over that. But the trip to Seattle was so sick. That ballpark is awesome. And kind of that area. We went down to the water there a couple times. Really, I got to play Chambers Bay. I know that's not exactly Seattle, but kind of close, like some sweet golf in that area and just beautiful mountains in the background. It doesn't get, that ballpark is so cool. And like that, just the walk. I forget what bar we went to a couple times, but it was beside Lumen Field, and you just walk down that strip to, I guess it was left field kind of bleachers, left field,
Yeah.
outfield. We would go through to be there. But that's the one thing about Toronto is we have the worst around stadium attractions. There was that beer hall that was kind of third base side too, I guess, that we went a couple times.
Yeah. Victory Hall. Yeah.
Yeah, cool stuff around the stadium. It's like that's what you want. I don't think we didn't find the best nightlife in the area post game.
Yeah.
That's different for Toronto. When you go out post game, that's when you find a lot of the good stuff. But nothing around the stadium in Toronto is very good. But Seattle was awesome. Like, and I mean, luckily at that point, that was a Blue Jays sweep that we never thought was, because it's a house of horrors from years past. It's like every time they go to T-Mobile, it's going to be the worst baseball you've ever seen. They are going to lose in dramatic, heartbreaking, crushing fashion to the Mariners when they go there, for all the fans that travel. And it was kind of the Trump tariffs thing where there wasn't a ton of Blue Jays fans, but yeah, you're going to see the worst people online. And once you're okay with that and you can move past it, then you say that those aren't the talking heads for the whole fan base. But the Seattle people were great to us. And I know they hate when the Blue Jays come. And that would make sense. It's like, if the Yankees come to Toronto and there's a bunch of Yankees fans, I'm going to hate them being there in the road. And I'm going to think it's pathetic that people in the area can't get there to get the Yankees fans out of the stadium.
I know they've been having a lot of problems with the Seahawks and like season ticket members giving away tickets to away fans. But yeah, it's really only Toronto that we have like that problem with, I guess, when they come to town. So yeah, and then just like as far as the Mariners in general, like, I mean, had such a very tough ALCS. Like, and it's weird to say that just because like there were a couple kind of blowout games that you guys had at T-Mobile Park, like where just your guys' offense was on, like, just felt like we couldn't get anyone out, which was super fun to watch in live time. But like at the end of the day, it ends, you know, we were 8 outs away, whatever it was, and then the Springer home run, all that stuff. But ultimately just like a really good series. So like, where do you, like, what is your opinions about like the Mariners and where they go into 2026? And I guess the American League picture between the Blue Jays and the Mariners, like, do we think probably going to have another run in the playoffs next year, most likely?
I hope so. I hope the Blue Jays do it big again. Like, I have to think they can recreate at least some of it. I don't think everyone else in the AL East is going to try and want to not let the Blue Jays win the division. Like, there's going to be money spent. The Yankees are going to find a way to do it too. Like, I think they can replicate some of the stuff, but a run-in seems likely. Like, the Mariners, the pitching in that series too was kind of odd because they can dominate so many ways. It's like, and Bryce Miller was the one to do it against all odds. That was the guy that was gonna shut the Jays down a couple times, right? Or at least the first game. The Mariners, you have all the young players too, right? Like, it's not a core that's going away very soon. Do I think Cal's gonna hit 1 million home runs again next year? You know what? Probably will hit a ton of home runs again. Like, we had Santander 44 to whatever, how many. But if Cal hits 40 home runs, like, that's another great year offensively for him, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's great production from that spot. Geno thing didn't work out as well. That kind of sucked for the team, because he was a beloved Mariner right before he was gone, and then you get him back. It's like, this is crazy, but you hit on Naylor at least from the D-backs at that point. But I don't think the Mariners should be going anywhere. It's sick to see the Rangers try and sell everyone off. That's nice to get in that division, right? That a team doesn't seem to be going all in right now. They seem to be going the opposite direction. But I can't see any reason why the Mariners don't have a chance to be back next year. I am worried about the Yankees spending a ton of money again, but the Yankees are just always in my brain. I'm always worried about them.
Well, the Yankees are clearly going to get Paul Skeens and Tarek Skubal. So
well, they're on the team already. You just have to wait a year.
Right. All right. Well, that's going to be it for our conversation. Thank you so much, Avery, for coming on. I appreciate it a lot. Go ahead and tell the people where they can find you and any of your content with Gate 14.
Avery Chenier on everything. I'm lucky to have a name that's not very common, so I could just take that out everywhere. And then Gate 14 podcast, Gate 14 pod, that'll find you on most places. So Yeah, thank you for having me, man. Good
Of
chat, and
course.
hopefully we'll see each other sometime.
Absolutely. Yeah. Would love to have you on like before the Blue Jays Mariners series sometime this year or something like that. If it comes down to where it's like really important for either team or something, we'll get
Absolutely.
it done. Or the playoff series. Hopefully. I would really like to talk about postseason baseball in when it comes to September, late September, October. So we'll definitely get that
Absolutely.
done.
I'll be there.
Thank you so much for watching my interview with Avery Chenier of the Gate 14 podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Last words is just please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot and it is free. You can also like the videos as well and comment down below. Are there any other people in the baseball space you think I should interview? I would love to know your suggestions. That's going to be it for me in this one, and I will see you in the next.